So I don't know if you remember Captain Van Tull, who's now Deputy Inspector Van Tull, right? He was in the 106 precinct as the CO, let a lot of stuff go on there. Recently, though, there's some new news on him. Now, he was unjustly promoted. And when he was promoted, I believe he went to Queens North as a deputy inspector. But the 106 is still short-staffed, okay, and all kinds of issues there because of the short staffing. So let's tell you what happened recently. This was in the last week or two. So he went to, I believe, the 106 where there's the pictures. The pictures on the wall. The first thing he noticed is that his picture used to be in the middle and there's a spotlight on it and it's no longer there. So that was a little odd, right? That, he looked at it, he was staring at it. And apparently 2 days later, he calls the executive officer of the 106. That would be the captain there, and belittles him because he says that the pictures, why were they taken down? Meaning, remember, he is no longer the commanding officer of the 106 precinct. Finds out that the admin lieutenant is the one that took it down, which, as you know, the admin lieutenant, some of the duties and responsibilities would be the pictures on the wall, which is usually the borough commander, the police commissioner, all the chiefs, and then the CO. Apparently, he gets upset about that. So finds out the admin lieutenant took it down, belittles the admin lieutenant, orders him. Now, remember, he works in Queens, orders that admin lieutenant to write a 49, which, as you know, a 49 is an unusual occurrence. You have to write a whole report. And he wants to know why he took it down. And he wants the executive officer to write the admin lieutenant a command discipline. So he wants him to discipline the lieutenant for taking his picture down where he's no longer the commanding officer of the 106. Eventually, a borough inspector had to get involved and squashed this whole matter, which is ridiculous that we're even talking about that, and put the pictures were all back up the way they should be. All right. And everyone in the 106 was a little confused that this guy was launched to Queens, yet comes back to do this. Okay. And to top it off, his operator, which he took, his driver took the Queens, the Queens North where he's at, was still a cop in the 106, apparently has the same 106 command code. They never changed the code. The code is still showing up as a 106. So I guess that's against the rules of how the telephone message transfers work because you would need to do that. Of course, that's all alleged, we'll say, but this is the information I am getting about Mr. Berkley Van Tull, who seems to be haunting the 106 precinct still to this day, which is short-staffed. He has left it in decay, and he goes back and haunts it as the duty inspector from another borough. Unbelievable. This is what goes on in the New York City Police Department. Pettiness, pettiness, pettiness.